Socializing monetization. Monetization process successful.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another short episode of Live ZMU TV Raw and Uncut, brought to you by me, your host, Armand Nicholas. Today we're going to be talking about a really neat topic. It goes alongside with the reuse content, copyright laws, infringement, things like that. Most of you guys are aware of this, but a lot of you are still in the dark with this. It's the Creative Commons. What exactly is a Creative Commons? Who can use Creative Commons? How is it used legally? How is it not used legally that you can violate certain rules, right? So today we're talking about Creative Commons. But before we get started, please, if you haven't done so yet, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell button to be notified of new videos that are coming up. So let's get right down to it. Creative Commons. Creative Commons is a non-profit organization that what they do is that created different kinds of licenses, right? They created different kinds of licenses to allow individuals like yourself, myself, to choose which type of copyright protection best suits their work and their need, right? And their content. So it's, you know, it's being Creative Commons, you know, most people will try to use this the wrong way, but that's exactly what it is by definition. It's a nonprofit organization that has created different ways or different kinds of licenses that allows, you know, which type of copyrighted services best suit our contents and our needs. So the goal of Creative Commons is very simple. The goal of Creative Commons is, according to their website that I looked at, it's simply to increase the amount. It's to increase the amount of creative, you know, like cultural, educational, scientific knowledge, facts, to increase the amount of creativity in the commons, or I guess in the world, in the body of the work that is available to the public. Okay, without Creative Commons, obviously we're all going to be very limited with what kind of content we can upload and what kind of materials that we can use and not use, right? So they want to basically increase the amount of creativity that's out there in the marketplace, right, to the public for free, and basically have legal sharing and legal use, you know, repurposing and remixing. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you need to basically be aware of. There are 5 main, I guess, questions that are always asked when it comes to Creative Commons. There's like 5 main things. Most of people that that actually, you know, use these type of contents. These are the most common ones that pop up. Okay, number 1 is very simple. What do Creative Commons license do? What exactly does Creative Commons license do for you or for your content? Okay, Creative Commons licenses allow their holders, right? Creative Commons allow their holders to grant. They grant a broad spectrum or broad permission to others to share, to remix, or use commercially, okay, or otherwise use their work without having to ask for permission or written consent every time. Okay, so Creative Commons license allows their holders, their creators, basically to give a general grant that allows, you know, everyone to use their material, use their content to share, to remix, and maybe even use it commercially. Okay, yes, it does make it easier for people to share and build upon the works of others. It does definitely make it easier to do that, consistent with the rules of the copyright. So this Creative Commons, basically you can literally share left and right with anyone that you want. You can remix it, you can change it, you can use it for commercial use, you can make a profit out of it, and still consistent or still abiding by the copyright laws. Number 2, how do Creative Commons license interact with copyright? Now this is kind of big, so pay attention. Question is, how do Creative Commons licenses interact with copyrights? Creative Commons license work alongside the rules of copyrights. Okay, they work hand in hand together alongside with that. If it was done right, Creative Commons license will abide by the copyright laws. Okay, allowing you, the creator, to authorize a more free usage of your work. It's just because there are people out there that says, listen, I'm creating this work and I don't mind if anyone else uses it out there, so I'm going to allow them to use it without having to ask me permission, without having me to write a statement that I'm allowing this person to use my material. It automatically does that because of Creative Commons law. Creative Commons license apply to any work. They apply to any work covered by the copyright laws. Okay, you have to understand these concepts. So bottom line is, by using Creative Commons license, you do not give up your copyright. Okay, you do not give up your copyright. It's still yours. It's still yours. You're just broadly allowing others to use it. Okay, so you have to know that if the content that you're using in your video has Creative Commons license, then yes, you can use that content any which way that you want, based on, you know, remixing it, sharing it, and of course commercially using it and to make a profit off of it, right? But it has to have a Creative Commons license. So how do you find these things out? You can go to a lot of different websites and try to see if that particular content that you have or that you want to use has a Creative Commons law or a license. Okay, Creative Commons license do not replace copyright registration. You have to understand this. It does not replace the copyright. It doesn't mean that you're going to basically you're going to use somebody's material and then you're going to make the changes and remixes, and don't think that you can basically put a new copyright on that thing. Don't think that you're going to basically own that content. It was somebody else's content that they gave you the right to use. Okay, even if you're using Creative Commons license, it is advisable to register your copyright so that you can protect your work from unauthorized use through the court system. Okay, yes, you should always register your work. If you value your work, if you value your content, you should register it so that it's copyrighted under your name. Then you too can actually do one, just like Creative Commons license, give that license out that says anyone can use this material, but I still own it. That I still own it. Okay, just think of it as copyright. You know, copyright as, think of copyright as an all rights reserved, right? Think of copyright as an all rights reserved option which you hold. You hold the option and the rights to that content. And Creative Commons is you letting everyone else borrow your content without having to ask you permission. It's just that simple. Okay. Number 3, are all Creative Commons license the same? No, they are not. Okay, they are not. Simply put, Creative Commons offers 6. They offer 6 different licenses. Okay, each allowing different use of their work. Okay, I'm going to speed through some of these things as far as I recall, but I suggest that you actually maybe Google this. If you know, in the next future videos that we have, you may be able to you know, kind of read up on this a little bit more and see what you know, what some of these things basically entails. But the bottom line is that there are 6 different, I guess, licenses that they offer. Okay, the first one is attribution. Attribution is the most permissive Creative Commons license that is out there. Basically, it's as long as you're given credit for the original work, then you're fine and you're not going to get any copyright laws and things like that. That's the most broad spectrum, right? Attribution share alike. Attribution share alike, very similar to attribution license. You permit, basically you permit others to use it, distribute it, remix it, tweak it, build upon your work more commercially, provide you with the credit, right? But this license also requires that the user to the license, like all new gosh, how would I put this? Any new creation basically has to be like registered. Has to be like registered to make sure that, number 1, you're giving credit to the original content creator, and then afterwards, basically, you're creating new content, remixing it, and redistributing it with your material alongside with it. Okay. Number 3, attributions with no derivatives. This permits others. Okay, this permits others to redistribute, including commercially, your work, as long as you're credited. Basically, if it's commercial distribution, then we all know that you're going after the profit, right? You're trying to make a profit out of this, possibly, or commercially distributed via educational or commentary values, right? Number 4, attribution non-commercial. Okay, this allows others to use and distribute the product, but non-commercially. They're allowing you to use it, but you cannot make a profit off of it. You're not allowed to basically generate and tweak it so that you can basically use it to generate profit out of it commercially. Okay, so there's a lot of different limitations when it comes to these 6 different rules and regulation or licenses through Creative Commons. Okay, number 5, attribution, non-commercial, share alike. So you notice that these names are basically just like adding on top of it to each other. Basically, attribution, non-commercial, like it permits others to use it, distribute it, remix it, tweak it, and build upon your work commercially, as long as, number 1, you give credit to them and you basically don't use it for commercial distribution. It has to be private distribution or non-commercially, where you're not making a profit off of it. Okay, and you're able to share and distribute it to whatever platform that you want. Number 6, attribution, non-commercial, no derivatives. This is closest to the traditional copyright system. This is the most restrictive of the Creative Commons. Bottom line is, if you're dealing with a content that has attribution, non-commercial, no derivatives, you're gonna want to basically see if you may run into some issues in that content. What I mean by that is because this is the most restrictive. You can't use it for commercial. You can't use it for a lot of different things, and you must give credit to the content creator. So it's almost like not being able to do anything. You're almost just playing with this content and not being able to distribute it the way that you want to distribute it for your channel or for your videos. Okay, so those are the 6 different ways. I'll do a video basically dissecting each of those segments out, all 6 of them, but this is just a real quick snapshot to what Creative Commons 6 different licenses are. Number 4 biggest questions that people are constantly asking about Creative Commons is, what are the pros and cons of using Creative Commons license? There are ups and downs. Okay, each specific Creative Commons license has its pros and cons depending on your situation, depending on your content. But the biggest overall pros to Creative Commons license is the fact that they are free. Okay, they are free and rather easy to use. They're free and rather very, very easy to use. You simply go to the Creative Commons website, right? You decide which license meets your needs, right? And then you attach the appropriate symbols to your work. I mean, at the end of the day, they're very easy to manipulate. They're very easy to use. You go to the website and at least figure out which ones apply to you. Okay, Creative Commons license also encourage others. This system encourages others to use and redistribute your work. So your work will be in front of other people out there. So if you're asking that, if I'm a content creator, what good is it for me to allow or to have a Creative Commons license on my content? It's because you're allowing others to distribute it. You're allowing others to market your content, market your information, market you as the creator, and of course getting the credit that you deserve, right? Now, what is the downside? What is the con? The biggest downside of using Creative Commons is that in all but the 2 most restrictive license, you grant permission to use your work. Okay, so if you give out a Creative Commons license to your content, you're literally it's almost like you're giving up your rights to your content. It almost sounds like it, right? Because out of the 6 different licenses, the last 2 are the most restrictive. So if you give out the first 4 licenses, it's literally almost giving free will to your content. But at the end of the day, there are benefits to it. You have to kind of weigh that out, right? Number 5, who uses Creative Commons license? Who actually uses these things, right? A lot of categories out there, a lot of different genres out there. Okay, the music industry, especially aspiring artists, they particularly are drawn to Creative Commons license because of the prevalence of remixing and mashups, right? Which are great ways for new artists. They want to get out there. They want to be visible, right? They want to be visible, so they generate Creative Commons license for their work because they want to be known. They want to be recognized, right? It's the best way to get in front of other people is allow others to advertise it for you, allow others to market it for you. So the music industries use a lot of that. Bloggers, okay? Bloggers and other online presence are now also increasingly turning into Creative Commons because they want people to voluntarily share their content. They want people to voluntarily share their information. They're trying to get out there. They're trying to get more subscribers. They're trying to get more viewers out there. So they're letting other people use their material. Okay. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of different benefits, cons and pros about Creative Commons, but more importantly, you guys, you have to know what those boundaries are. You have to know where the red line is and the blue line is, or the black line is. Always be on the black side of things or in the clear side of things, because if you cross that red line, yes, you may think that the content that you're using has Creative Commons license, but the question is, which of the 6 Creative Commons license are they using or are they giving out? You have to know these things. If not, all of a sudden you went from thinking that you're using somebody's content through Creative Commons license, but in reality, you're literally infringing on the copyright laws. In reality, you're actually running into violation of reuse content, or what is the other one? Repetitious content that's being uploaded over and over again without any additional value. Know which one of these permits or licenses you are actually using. And I repeat, there are 6 of them. And I'm just going to go through them with you real quick. Number 1 is attribution, the most flexible. Attribution share alike, fairly flexible. Attribution with no derivatives. Okay. And then, of course, attribution non-commercial. And then the 2 most restrictive one of the 6 is attribution non-commercial, share alike. And of course, attribution non-commercial, no derivatives. Those are the 2 you have to be very careful about, because there's a lot of restrictions in those licenses. The first 4, yeah, there's a lot of flexibility, and if you can stay on the number 1 license, which is attribution, that's going to be your best bet to make sure that you don't run into any form of violation. So hopefully this was of some value to you. I know that a lot of you guys are depending on Creative Commons to kind of gain a little bit more of your content material out there. We understand, we get it, but please make sure that you're aware of which licenses apply to the content that you're using, to ensure that you are not crossing any violation lines. Okay, so again, my name is Armand Nicholas, and I'm hoping that this video was useful to you. And if it is, please make sure that you hit that like button, and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. If you have done so yet, make sure that you basically hit that bell button. And more importantly, from your experience, I'd like to know what types of Creative Commons licenses are you using? Do you even know what Creative Commons license you are using for some of your content? Please put that on the comments down below. I'd like to learn about it. I'd like to know more about it. And of course, more importantly, let others who are watching this video and reading the comments learn from your experience. Again, so we'll see you next time, and thank you for watching another live episode of Team ZMU Live TV Raw and Uncut. We'll see ya.